Hi, I'm Gretchen Dixon, Product Specialist with SOLABS. Today I'd like to give you a high-level overview of our Audit Process app. Here on the screen, we see a completed audit process. And like all of our process apps, you're able to see at any point in the process on the screen the details of the process, the values input at every step of the process, and whether or not there are any secondary tasks or related processes to this one. You also have a summary report that's available. Let's look at the overall process flowchart for this. I'm going to open the flowchart and we'll go through the process that way to give you the high-level overview. This process, every step is assigned to the same person, but it does allow you to formally capture all of the steps that are required when doing an audit. The first step is the audit planning step. So at that step, you'll put in the category of the audit, and the options are regulatory audit of yourself or a regulatory audit of a partner or supplier, an internal audit, a supplier audit, or a partner or customer audit. So you'll enter that information as well as the type of audit, and that's a configurable custom list. So whatever types of audits you have at your company, you can configure that list and be able to choose those. How will it occur? Is it a questionnaire or will it be on site? Who will perform the audit? And what site is the audit at? The site list is a shared configurable custom list that you can put all of your sites in, and you can pick the site where the audit will take place, whether it's an internal site for your company or external partners or suppliers. There's also a place to indicate whether it's a third-party auditor, and if yes is selected, you can enter all the information about the third party. At this point, too, you designate the audit lead and any audit team members that may be required for the audit team. And you will summarize with the purpose and scope of your audit. And those fields are text fields, but you can also populate them with configurable custom lists if you'd like to have specific terminology for your audit purpose and scope so that you can search on it later. Once all of this is entered, the person entering the information will submit that step and the process will move to the audit preparation. In the audit preparation step, there will be a multi-select field that again you can configure with the types of audit activities that may be required. Maybe setup of an audit room, agenda, anything that you do at your site you can set up as a custom list and be able to pick those activities. Also, you can decide whether the date of the audit has been confirmed that was entered at step 1. Once that is entered, the workflow will go to step 3, where now the lead auditor will monitor all of those activities. So they will monitor the audit activities. They can add daily summaries for a multi-day audit, and the daily summaries can include details on the summaries, the closing meeting, whether an exit meeting has occurred, and you can add as many of those as may be required depending on the length of your audit. The next step is the preparation and issuance of an audit report. So you'll enter such information as whether the report date is attached or not, and you can attach that if it helps. Confirmation of receipt. If you're sending it to someone, do you want to have confirmation that they got the audit report? If so, it will automatically initiate a secondary task to track that so that the audit won't be closed if that does not happen. Now, are responses required, yes or no? And if responses are required, it will go into these next steps of the audit process where you can record the responses and any related commitments. And it is at this issuance of audit report step that you'll be able to enter an executive summary and the findings of your audit with categories of critical, major, and minor findings as well as comments. Once you submit that, if there were responses required, it will go down to the audit report response. If the answer was no, you will go right to audit closure and be able to close the process. But if we go down to the report response section, you will be able to see if the audit report responses have been accepted or not, and the date that they were accepted. And then you can indicate if you'd like to track any commitments related to those responses. If you answer yes, it will remind you to create secondary tasks for each of those commitments. And that's important because you won't be able to close the audit if there are any open secondary tasks. So this ensures that they are all complete before the audit is closed. You'll also be able to answer yes or no as to whether a CAPA might be required for any of these commitments. When that is submitted, it will go to the completion of commitment step. And as I just said, you will not be able to get beyond this step if any of those secondary tasks are not completed. Once they are, though, you can go to audit closure and the audit will now be complete. So that's an overview of our audit process. For those of you who have implemented this process app, there is also a detailed user guide in our knowledge base.